It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman, and this show is brought to you by CartKing.com. Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Perhaps the business you have right now wants to add multiple point-of-sale locations across the country quickly. Maybe the facility you manage could kickstart revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services down there in the lobby. CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail coffee, food, and carts and kiosks that money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. So that's cart-king.com. You go to the website, you pick out a design that applies to your business. Now, they'll custom design it for you. They'll custom build it for you, and then they'll ship it worldwide. You give them a call at 877-986-7771. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you, get a good deal. Okay, very excited about our next guest. He's a filmmaker named John Paul Rice, and I've just been watching his film today. It's called A Child's Voice. You can get it on Amazon and Vimeo. You can also check him out. He has an appearance coming up on Moment of Clarity with Tiffany. In about 2 weeks, you'll be hearing him on there too as well. And his website is norestrictionsentertainment.com. Hey, so John Paul Rice, are you there?
Yes, sir, Ed. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be on the show with you today.
Yeah, same here. I really enjoyed the film. Tell the audience about yourself. Who is John Paul Rice?
John Paul Rice is an independent film producer here in Los Angeles, California. I've produced 6 independent feature films in the last 10 years, all of them dealing with different social issues ranging from homelessness, child abuse, mental health, social justice, prostitution, and our latest film is on human trafficking. Deals specifically with children and implies child sex trafficking as well as satanic ritual abuse and child sacrifice, which was based on work that we had done over the last year and a half of research and decided that it was important enough that we needed to do something about this. It had affected us at an emotional level, and the comprehension of such evil acts made us, we couldn't turn away. So we wanted to do something that would highlight and also give a message of hope and wrap it in a message of love, compassion, and action.
Now, in the film, A Child's Voice, there definitely is a satanic organization aspect to it. These are the people behind all this. Mm-hmm. But it also appears that this is a satanic group. It's kind of almost like they got suits and ties, you know what I mean? Almost like there's like a government overtone to it or a big military. There's even like a military tone to it. Am I correct with that? Yeah. Now, yes. My experience has been with the filmmaking and stuff like that and documentary TV and these media, that this is the kiss of death. They don't want to touch this topic whatsoever. Am I correct?
As far as Hollywood?
As Hollywood wanting to touch satanic ritual abuse and organized pedophilia and these type of topics?
Absolutely not, especially not in a way that directly implicates anyone.
Right. So you're agreeing with me then that it is the kiss of death.
Oh yeah. No, this is, when we made this film, we realized that we were basically striking ourselves out from the entertainment industry, the Hollywood studio system, and that the repercussions of that were going to be felt for many, many years as far as opportunities here in LA for us.
Right, because they don't want to touch this topic, right? Now, why do you think that is?
Right. Because they're all tied to it. Yeah, right. And I mean that in one way or another, I think that the United States and its infiltration from the government into organizations, all of our institutions. Hollywood's founding was the mafia, and organized crime, and it has evolved since. It hasn't abated. And so when I went back in time and looked at all of the central intelligence and the military intelligence involved with Hollywood, going back to, Marilyn Monroe and Cary Grant days, and extending into Vegas. And I mean, it's abhorrent and it's kind of grotesque and it's overwhelming, but at the same time, I didn't look at it as something that many people knew about. And at the same time, I think once people find out about it, it's not something that they ever look at Hollywood or any of our institutions the same way as they did before. So when I put it all together, kind of with the media, not just with Harvey Weinstein and the cover-up for 2 decades, but the omission and the conspiracy, essentially, of silence in all of these cases, from the Franklin scandal all the way up to today. And you're dealing with Pizzagate, or at least the implied pedophilia that's going on in Washington, D.C. And I've had people firsthand tell me who have had their brothers and sisters working with political organizations in D.C. who all know that this stuff goes on every day. And at least half of the members of Congress or people working in government institutions have some kind of either blackmail on them or are directly involved in pedophilia.
Now, if you were to try to produce this film, A Child's Voice, and put it on YouTube, there's a good chance it would be demonetized, or it would be taken off, it would be deleted. Have you had any trouble distributing this film through Amazon and Vimeo? And what about film festivals and stuff like that?
Film festivals won't touch it at all. And the reason I know that is because for many years I had established relationships with the heads of festivals and was able to email them directly our trailers, and they would give us either a waiver or a special, path to submission right to the festival director. This time around, I just did it just to see, and there was no response whatsoever. I think one of them came back and said, if you'd like to submit, you can go through this process and submit it, and we'll be happy to take a look at it. So they'll basically take your $50 and you'll be handed off to an intern. But I really didn't expect that. I just kind of did it as a test. And we had difficulty to get it on Amazon. It took like 4 weeks to get it on Amazon. For whatever reason, there was technical issues that they claimed were there. And then once we brought it to their attention, they said, "Oh no, that's not a problem. It was our internal error. You can go ahead and publish it." And the one thing that we have seen is that there's been an uptick in online attacks of this movie. I think within one day, the film's rating, on IMDb went from like 8-point-something out of 10 to a 5.2 within 2 to 3 days, and that was with 20 some odd voters going down and voting this movie a 1 to counter the balance of all the people who had voted an 8, a 9, or a 10 out of 10. I don't expect everybody to like the film or think that it's a great piece of art, or it may not be their cup of tea or their cup of acting or whatever it is. But we've never seen that in any of our other movies that we've released before. Such a very swift act of people that are coming on there, and then other people that are writing reviews that call this a child snuff film, that kind of stuff. We just, we've obviously upset a few people, or they didn't find the material compelling for them.
Yeah, but that fits the pattern. Whenever you have these controversial topics, McMartin, Pizzagate, there's this organized group out there. It gets online and starts writing bad reviews and downflagging and all that kind of stuff. It's over and over.
When we were about to premiere the film, we had this big premiere in Los Angeles, capacity crowd of 400 people, and we had sent out invites to the heads of Amazon, Netflix, YouTube, Hulu, and others in the online streaming, just at least as an introduction to our work and our previous films, and not one, and we're talking about 200 to 300 emails that were sent out, follow-ups and phone calls, not one of them showed any interest. And I didn't expect people in the industry to be coming forward and going, yes, we want to see your film. But the silence of that among all of our other movies, and I've been doing this for, like I said, over 10 years, I've never seen anything like it before, where there was absolutely no reaction whatsoever. And it was very similar along the same lines as the film festivals. I mean, I've had other movies that I've submitted to film festivals. People were ready to receive them. They said, this looks really compelling and interesting. There was absolutely no response, no attendance. But I can tell you that the 400 people that were there were moved beyond emotions and tears, and a lot of them, especially women, were deeply moved. They were coming up to our actors and actresses afterwards, hugging them with tears in their eyes, saying, I didn't know this went on like this. I didn't know. And they were just so, I guess, in a way, happy, at the same time feeling the sadness in their hearts that somebody, including the actors, had honestly portrayed something that moved them. And so I look at that as the win. But I understand more so today, actually, here in November than I did in June, as to why there are pretty good reasons as to why the industry has no interest in distributing this film or promoting it in any which way, social issue or otherwise. And that's just the point I wanted to make in addition to what I said earlier.
Yeah, because just think, this is right during the Me Too movement, when everybody should be coming out and supporting each other. This is a bridge too far. They don't want to get into this whole thing about the factories. And describe the film for people so they'll understand what we're talking about.
All right, so A Child's Voice, what we did is we made it in a genre of a supernatural thriller. There's a heroin-addicted homeless teen, Tim, who hears the voice of a child calling out for help. He can't see him. But he answers the child, says, I will help you, and goes and is led down a path where he connects with this young girl whose boyfriend has been kidnapping kids and now wants to start selling them for their own business, human trafficking. And he saves her life, rescues her, and the two of them begin to form a relationship together while this boy continues to have, I guess you could say, hallucinations or voice reaching out to him and guiding him as he moves through this journey to ultimately uncover the truth about why this child was killed, how he was killed, and uncovers the murderer along with this human trafficking network or these principles that are running it. And what we wanted to do with this movie was to say that there's the child's voice inside of each of us, as well as the one that we don't know, that is not our own, and a call to action in each of us to basically say, once you know the truth about this issue, there's really no turning back. We need to act in whatever way we can to help every child in this world to know that there is love and light. And I base that off of a lot of things, both in my own personal experience in history with children, as well as people like Ronald Bernard and others who have come forward and talked about these horrendous crimes that have been committed against children, understanding that the underlying issue to all of this is we are committing ourselves to a nightmare in the future. We are creating generations of children who are going to grow up, not only who have been trafficked, but child abuse in all its forms, both committed in the home and out of private. But these areas, these centers, these networks, whatever you want to call them, are all about having power. And it's so much bigger than just children. It's expressed in all its forms across all of our systems of power, all of our institutions, that we cannot have people, for example, like Eric Schneiderman, who calls, on women who are involved with him in a relationship. Now, I don't mean that these women are totally innocent themselves, but the idea that he would use women and call them derogatory names, threaten to kill them if they were to leave him. This is the chief law enforcement official, or the attorney general, of New York, the state of New York. And he's giving full-throated endorsements to Me Too. So All I'm calling on is just